I was with Isabelle for 5 years. She was obsessed with her academic research and always forgot to keep a professional distance with her male students. Every time I got upset about it, Isabelle would just frown and say, "I don't want to have a pointless argument. Let's both just cool down." Then she'd block me and refuse to see me. The last time she blocked me over a student, I didn't chase after her anymore. 6 months later, when she finally unblocked me and condescendingly asked if I'd learned my lesson, my reply was an invitation to my wedding. October 8th. Come celebrate with us. Isabelle called while I was getting fitted for my tux. The tailor was complimenting my physique and telling me what great taste I had, saying my fiancée was gorgeous. I just smiled without saying anything. When I stepped out of the dressing room and pulled back the curtain, the woman who had been sitting quietly on the sofa suddenly averted her eyes. The tailor asked her with a smile, "How does he look?" She nodded, the tips of her ears turning red. This woman on the sofa was the one I was going to marry. I called to her, "Lily, how's this one?" The tailor discreetly excused himself. "Well?" I asked again. This time, Lily finally stood up and nodded, looking a little dazed. She still didn't dare to look at me, stammering, You look good in anything." Seeing how nervous she was, I found it amusing and decided to tease her. "Really? But you haven't even looked at me." At that, Lily's head shot up, her pretty face filled with panic. She rushed to explain, "I did. I was looking." Then, feeling she'd said the wrong thing, she looked down in frustration. I burst out laughing. When Lily saw me laugh, she started to laugh shyly, too. The mood was perfect, but a sudden phone call shattered the moment. Lily handed me my phone, and I saw the name on the screen. The smile on my face froze. I coldly declined the call. Lily noticed the change in my mood. She asked cautiously, "Was that her?" I nodded, then forced another smile. "It's fine. Don't worry about her. Let's keep going." After we picked out the outfits, Lily and I went to dinner at a restaurant she had thoughtfully chosen. Halfway through the meal, Lily suddenly stepped out and came back with a huge bouquet of roses. She nervously handed me the flowers, then pulled out a ring box, got down on one knee and said, "Victor, will you marry me?" I looked at her with a complicated expression. After a long moment, I finally spoke. "You really didn't have to do all this." My words made her face fall. "Victor, I know you're only marrying me to settle down, but I'm not. I'm serious, and I'll do my best to win you over." It seemed to take all her courage to say that. Her whole body was trembling, but her expression was so determined. Something inside me stirred. I nodded at her and said softly, "I do." Lily's eyes instantly lit up. She clumsily slid the ring onto my finger. Then she stood up, slowly leaned in, and I gently closed my eyes. But just then, my phone rang again, breaking the intimate mood. Lily jumped back as if waking from a dream and awkwardly sat back down. I glanced at the name on the screen, silenced the call again, and muttered an apology. "It's okay. You can take her call," Lily said suddenly. I shook my head. "It's fine. There's no need." When Lily dropped me off at home, my grandma was standing at the door, looking out for me. The moment she saw Grandma, Lily went over to her affectionately. "Grandma, why are you out here? It's windy." Lily expertly coaxed her inside, poured her a glass of water, and quietly asked if she'd taken her medicine. Then she rolled up her sleeves, walked into the kitchen, and washed the dishes in the sink. After that, she went to tidy up Grandma's room and change the trash, even taking a moment to fix Grandma's fussy old radio. I watched her do all this so naturally, without a hint of impatience. The warm light from above enveloped her, making her seem to glow. I leaned against the wall, a smile on my face, and just watched her for a long time. It wasn't until Grandma called my name that I snapped out of it. "Victor, walk Lily out." Lily was leaving. I walked her to the door. After putting on her shoes, she suddenly leaned in and gave me a hug. Her embrace was warm and had a comforting scent. "Good night," she whispered in my ear. I closed my eyes and hugged her back tightly. "Good night." After Lily left, I helped Grandma to bed. When I got out of the shower, I saw a text from Lily. "What do I do?" I just got home and I already miss you. My face grew hot reading it, and my heart started beating a little faster. I was about to reply when that ghost of a phone call came back again. The name I hated flashed on the screen. Isabelle. I had dated her for 5 years. We broke up 6 months ago. I declined the call again. She probably wouldn't call back after this. Knowing Isabelle, she'd assume I was just trying to get a reaction out of her. But after a moment, I sent her a text anyway. Maybe you didn't get the message before, so I'm officially informing you now. We are broken up. Do not contact me again. After a few minutes with no reply, I put her out of my mind. I turned back to my phone and texted Lily. Well, I hope you dream about me tonight. She replied, I'll have to say a prayer for that. I felt shy and didn't reply, deciding to just go to sleep. But right before I turned off the light, a message from Isabelle came through. My project's finished. Seeing those words, my calm heart churned. It was always the same line. Every time she blocked me, this was how she'd reach out to make up. No epalegi, no explanation. Just that. Isabelle was a university professor, young, brilliant, with a limitless future. 6 years ago, it was love at first sight for me. I chased her for a year before she finally agreed to go out with me. On our first day as a couple, she told me that her research would always come first and that she might not have much energy left for me. At the time, I thought she just meant she'd be busy with work, so I told her it was fine, that I wasn't the needy, clingy type of boyfriend. I agreed that everyone needed their personal space. But I never imagined that her obsession with academic research meant giving special attention to her male students. There was this one guy from a good family, good-looking, and a great student. He was originally a history major, but after attending one of Isabelle's lectures, he switched to physics and became her student. The first time I met him was when I decided on a whim to bring Isabelle some homemade cookies. Isabelle had this weird quirk. When she was busy, she craved sweets. She said it made her brain happy. I'd spent all afternoon baking to get one perfect batch of cookies. But when I pushed open her office door, I saw Isabelle intently adjusting some lab equipment while the student affectionately fed her a piece of cake. His face was flushed with adoration, and he would occasionally wipe the corner of her mouth. What are you two doing? The noise startled them. The student jumped, quickly pulling his hand back. The cake smeared across Isabelle's face, leaving a white streak. Isabelle looked up at me, annoyed, before turning back to the student with a softer expression. Leo, you can go for now. He nodded. Okay, Professor Reed. As he passed me, he gave a polite nod, but I still caught the hidden challenge in his eyes and the faint, smug curl of his lips. Leo. From that day on, I remembered his name. Isabelle and I had our first real fight. I demanded to know why she let another guy feed her cake, especially since they were teacher and student and should maintain their distance. Isabelle looked at my furious face, calmly took off her gloves, carefully wiped her own face clean, and only then offered an explanation. I was adjusting the equipment and my hands were full, so he helped. I'll be more careful next time. I felt like I'd punched a pillow. Isabelle was so calm it made me feel like I was the one being unreasonable. I thought she would actually be more careful, but it was like she was completely oblivious, continuing to cross the line. We dated for 5 years, and Leo became her student in the 4th year. It only took him 1 year to tear us apart. He would text Isabelle every day about what he ate, what he did, what movies he saw, always ending with a cute emoji. What I couldn't stand was that Isabelle replied to every single thing. He'd text, Professor Reed, this mango chiffon cake is amazing. Isabelle would reply, maybe I'll try it next time. He'd text, Professor Reed, you gave me a lot of papers to read. Can I just read 3 this month, please? Isabelle would reply, no. He'd text, Professor Reed, what should I prepare for the academic conference tomorrow? I'm so nervous. Isabelle would reply, don't worry. Just stick with me. This even happened on our dates, while I was excitedly telling her about my life. I was telling her about a new watch I just bought, hoping to wear it when we went to the beach together. Isabelle suddenly looked up and said, Leo just told me the power's out in the lab. I have to go check on it. In that single moment, my excitement made me feel like a clown. She didn't care about my feelings or my life. but she was worried Leo would be scared in a dark lab by himself. That time, I threw something. I lost my temper completely. I told her, if you go back there, we're done. But Isabelle just looked at me like I was being irrational. She stood with her hands in her pockets, frowning. You're overthinking this. We're just a teacher and a student. I'm going back because an experiment is running, and a power outage could ruin it. I need to check on the equipment. Victor, you're being unreasonable. You need to calm down. I'm not contacting you until you've thought this through. Isabelle left without a second glance, ignoring the fact that I was on the verge of a breakdown. She thought I was being unreasonable. She thought she and Leo hadn't crossed any lines. And yes, none of Leo's messages were overtly romantic. They all seemed perfectly normal. But he was constantly inserting himself between me and Isabelle. A part of Isabelle's life was reserved for him, not me. He was the invisible third party in our relationship, and there's no room for a third person in love. You could say he defeated me utterly without ever firing a shot. That time, Isabelle blocked me for a full 2 weeks. After I'd gone through agony, torment, and self-doubt, she sent me a message. My project's finished. I'm off tomorrow. That was her way of offering an olive branch. In the past, I would always swallow my pride and ask her out, and we would both tacitly pretend the fight never happened. Isabelle would even make a small change, like she'd stop replying to every single one of Leo's texts, only responding to academic-related ones. And just like that, I forgave her again. I told myself that Isabelle just didn't understand, not that she didn't like me. Leo wasn't the only guy who'd had a crush on Isabelle. In the 4 years before him, another male student had confessed his feelings to her directly. Isabelle had sternly rejected him and then immediately posted about me on her social media. I still remember the caption. 3 simple words, my boyfriend. Everyone around her knew I existed, so I thought I could be a little more patient with her. But I have to admit, Leo was far more cunning than any of her previous admirers. He wasn't hurt when Isabelle started keeping her distance. He was even perfectly composed in front of me. He could smile while ordering 2 coffees, handing one to me and the other to Isabelle. But he'd make a point of saying, Professor Reed, this is from that place you love. Your usual 2 sugars, no milk. Then he'd turn to me and say, I'm not sure what you like, sir, but you can tell me and I'll remember for next time. His smile looked sincere, but it was pure provocation. He was telling me that he knew far more about her than I thought. So I couldn't help but scowl. I refused his coffee. And so, of course, he got to act hurt and offended, and of course, Isabelle fought with me over him. Victor, you went too far this time. Leo was just being nice. I didn't want to turn into a hysterical maniac in front of Leo. That would only make me lose even more spectacularly. My only option was to pretend to be angry and storm off. The feelings of injustice and resentment almost drowned me. Isabelle really didn't get it. But by the time I'd composed myself and wanted to have a serious talk with her, I got the news. She and Leo were going abroad for a 6-month project. Together, the paperwork was approved. They were leaving in 3 days. And out of everyone, I was the last to know. Isabelle hadn't told me. I rushed to her office again, ready to demand why she hadn't said anything. But what I saw was Isabelle, teaching Leo how to revise his paper, her hand over his. They were sitting so close, shoulder to shoulder. Isabelle patiently corrected his mistakes, and Leo would occasionally look down and smile shyly. A handsome man and a beautiful woman, it was a picture-perfect scene. Unfortunately, an unwelcome element had just been inserted, me. Seeing me, Leo shot to his feet in a panic. Isabelle just frowned in annoyance. Victor, Professor Reed is just helping me with my paper. Please don't misunderstand. I'll leave right now. I have to admit, Leo played the part of the innocent student, startled by his teacher's overly suspicious and jealous boyfriend, perfectly. He pretended to be anxious as he walked past me, even flinching slightly. It successfully made the look in Isabelle's eyes even colder. I knew I should be smart, smile, and smooth things over so I wouldn't fall into his trap. But I couldn't. I was too hurt. I turned to him and said coldly, Don't call me that. We're not friends. My words made Leo's eyes well up with tears. His voice choked. I'm sorry. I just thought it would be friendlier. I was wrong. I won't do it again. Then he ran off. Isabelle immediately stood up, looking concerned. Once his back disappeared through the doorway, Isabelle's gaze on me grew even more irritated. She rubbed her temples. Why didn't you tell me you were going abroad with him alone for 6 months? I blurted out, desperate for an answer. Isabelle's eyes were full of mockery. Doesn't the scene you just made explain why? Victor, you're hopeless. Her words made me tremble. I couldn't hold back the hurt anymore. I slammed my bag on the floor, my voice hoarse. You say I'm hopeless, but who pushed me to be this way? Isabelle, do you really not get it? Are you really that innocent? Is he? I screamed the last few sentences, my eyes instantly turning red. Isabelle just looked at me. No words, no movement, just impatience on her face. She was as calm as if I were a stranger. My struggles, my resentment, my pain, my outrage, she couldn't see it, couldn't understand it. Or maybe she just didn't want to. And so, she delivered her cold judgment. I don't want to have a pointless argument. Let's both just cool down. From that day on, she blocked all my contacts and got on a plane with Leo. And in that moment, my heart turned to ash. I didn't want to fight for this anymore. Isabelle's calmness made me feel like a madman. I didn't want to be a madman anymore, and I didn't want to be a clown. I forced myself to give up on her. But now she'd popped back up, acting like nothing had happened, using that same old line, as if she could just drag me back into those miserable days. A surge of anger rose in me. What right did she have? What gave you the right, Isabelle, to think you could just drop me and pick me up whenever you felt like it? So I sent her my wedding invitation. October 8th. Come celebrate with us. Once I calmed down, I realized I'd been impulsive. This would probably just make her think I was trying to spite her. And, as expected, Isabelle didn't reply. I laughed at myself, blocked her number, and decided we would never speak or see each other again. It was for the best. My life is good now. Another week passed. It was Saturday, and I was going with Lily to taste the food for the reception. When I found Lily, she was still at work. She was skillfully turning over an elderly patient, washing their face, and patiently coaxing them to take their medicine and sleep. Her expression was incredibly gentle, her movements delicate. When she finished and looked up, she saw me standing there, smiling. Lily's eyes immediately lit up. She walked over quietly and naturally took my hands in hers. How long have you been waiting? Why didn't you call me? Because it was too beautiful a scene to interrupt. My fiancé is like an angel, I teased with a smile. My words made Lily blush. She pleaded softly, Victor. Okay, I'll stop teasing. Go get changed. I'll wait for you here. I waved her off to change her clothes. Lily nodded, her face full of reluctance to leave. Wait for me, then. After she changed, we drove to the hotel we had booked. Today was for tasting the wedding menu. After each course, Lily would ask for my opinion first. If I nodded, she agreed without any objection. She was also secretly jotting something down on her phone. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. When she wasn't looking, I grabbed her phone and saw that she was making a list of my favorite foods. Lily was a bit stunned when I snatched her phone. When she realized what happened, she frantically tried to get it back. Victor, don't look. The more she said it, the more curious I got. I scrolled up and was shocked. It was a list of things all about me, page after page. The title was Everything About Victor. Seeing that I'd already read it, Lily stopped struggling. She looked at me nervously. Victor, I didn't mean any harm by writing this. I just wanted to get to know you. Do you mind? If you do, I'll delete it right now. Seeing her anxious expression, I deliberately frowned. You got something wrong here. I don't like tofu. Oh, I'll delete it right away, Lily said, panicked, trying to get her phone back. I gently held her hand, a smile playing on my lips. What I mean is, if you want to know anything about me, you can just ask. And I'd like to get to know you, too. When Lily understood what I was saying, she became flustered with excitement. Victor, are you saying? I'm starting to like you. I finished for her, my expression serious and sincere. After I said that, Lily just seemed dazed. For the rest of the tasting, she just stared at me, her mind not on the food at all. She was still in a fog when I led her out of the private room. After a few steps, she quietly laced her fingers with mine and started smiling to herself. I was smiling too. We were like a couple of middle schoolers on their first date, holding hands tightly but afraid to look at each other. We walked hand in hand like that to the hotel entrance, until someone suddenly called my name. Victor. Person blocked our path. Isabelle was staring at our intertwined hands, her face dark. Lily snapped to attention and instinctively stepped in front of me. Victor, who is this? Victor, I need to tell you that we never broke up. What you're doing right now is cheating. Isabelle cut her off, speaking rapidly. Hearing her words, my face went cold. I took a step forward. Isabelle, I already told you we're done. It ended the day you blocked me. I left you a voicemail. You can go back and check if you don't believe me. Besides, this is my fiancé. We've met each other's families. It's official. There's nothing left for you and me to talk about. I tried to lead Lily past her, but she grabbed my wrist. Ma'am, please let go of my fiancé. Isabelle ignored her, muttering. I didn't agree. I struggled to break free. Let go of me, Isabelle. She suddenly pulled me closer, looked me in the eyes and said, word for word, I didn't agree to break up with you. Sometime during all this, Isabelle's eyes had turned red. Looking closely, she seemed a bit haggard. I was stunned. Isabelle could actually cry. Victor, She tried to say more, but Lily pried her hand off me. I quickly hid behind Lily, watching Isabelle warily. If you do that to Victor again, I'm calling the police. Lily's gentle voice had turned firm. Lily, let's go. I don't want to see her, I whispered. Lily turned, put her arm around me and guided me away. But I could feel that gaze following us, like a shadow. After we left the hotel, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. I didn't know why Isabelle had suddenly shown up, or what she was trying to accomplish with that scene. I kicked at a pebble on the ground in frustration. Lily suddenly handed me a warm milk tea. It was only then that I realized I had been ignoring her. I'm so sorry about today. I really am. I said it with a face full of apology. But Lily just replied gently, you don't have to apologize. It's not your fault. Lily sat down next to me, and we looked up at the moon together. But, Victor, she seems really impressive. Lily's voice was tinged with sadness. Hearing that, I immediately turned to look at her. Sure enough, Lily's eyes were darting away, her face showing a hint of frustration. I knew her self-doubt was creeping back in. I sighed internally. She is impressive. That's why I'm not good enough for her, I said deliberately. Lily immediately got anxious. No, you're absolutely good enough for her. You have no idea how good and amazing you are. Hearing her eager defense, I burst out laughing. Lily realized what was happening, and her face slowly turned red. Looks like you really like me. Lily lowered her head, the tips of her ears bright red. After a long moment, she let out a soft emichem. What I wanted to say is, yes, she's impressive, but she's definitely not right for me. You saw it today. She never considers my feelings. She would never sit patiently with me, watch the moon, and listen to me vent like you do. I don't care what other people think. In my eyes, you're better than she is. And I'm so happy that you're the one who will be with me in the future. After I said that, I held out my pinky and hooked it with hers. Lily's face turned an even deeper shade of red. She still didn't dare to look up at me, but she quietly tightened her finger around mine. Neither of us spoke again. The moonlight fell quietly on us. Lily dropped me off downstairs. Before she left, she gave me her customary hug, and I peacefully enjoyed the warmth of her embrace. After a moment, Lily reluctantly let go. I told her to go ahead, but she insisted on watching me go upstairs. Finally, I had to put on a stern face and pretend to be angry before she agreed to leave. But she had only taken 2 steps when I suddenly pulled her back and planted a firm kiss on her cheek. Lily was completely stunned. I gently pushed her away and said with a smile, "Goodbye." When Lily came to her senses, she was so flustered she didn't know what to do with her hands. She started to move toward me. I held back a laugh, shook my head, and waved at her. so she had no choice but to walk away, looking back every few steps. After she left, I clutched my pounding heart and walked back with a sweet smile on my face. But as I stepped into the building's hallway, a slender figure lunged out from the darkness. "You kissed her?" The sound-activated light flickered on, revealing Isabelle's furious face right in front of mine. I jumped back, startled. Realizing it was her, I put on a cold expression and walked past her. Isabelle grabbed my wrist again. I'd lost my patience. I turned back, frowning. "What the hell do you want? We haven't broken up, Victor. You can't kiss her." Isabelle's face actually showed a flicker of hurt. I forcefully shook her hand off, my voice icy. "Who I kiss is none of your business. I am telling you again, seriously and formally, we broke up 6 months ago. I have nothing to do with you." "I didn't agree," Isabelle said, her voice hoarse. "Victor, I didn't agree. You can't do this to me." Her words ignited a fury in me. Isabelle was painting herself as the victim, just like all the times before, when she drove me crazy and then acted like nothing happened. Then how should I treat you? Let you keep blocking me, giving me the silent treatment? Keep watching you and Leo get all cozy and cross every line? And then, when you're in a better mood, come running back to kiss your ass? Isabelle, you are a complete and utter asshole. I finally said it all. The anger I'd been holding in was released. But I didn't do anything. There was nothing between me and Leo. We were just a teacher and student. Victor, you're the one who made assumptions about our relationship. You misunderstood. Isabelle was still trying to defend herself. I laughed mockingly. Teacher and student? The kind that texts at 2 in the morning? The kind that shares a piece of cake? Or the kind that gives each other chocolates on Valentine's Day? You're right, Isabelle, you didn't do anything. Because you knew exactly what was happening. You enjoyed being pampered and taken care of, especially when it was by a handsome young student. How despicable can you be, Isabelle? You make me sick. Isabelle's face flushed red. The mouth that could talk endlessly about her research was now unable to form a single word. I don't want to see you again. Stay out of my sight. I turned my back on her, unwilling to say another word. The moment I stepped into my apartment, the light behind me went out. After that night, Isabelle disappeared. I thought she had given up, but I never expected that a week later, she would find me again. In the coffee shop, I looked at the stern-faced Isabelle, feeling annoyed. Before she could speak, I went on the offensive. You said this was the last time, that you wouldn't bother me again.
Isabelle nodded.
Go on. What else is there? Isabelle took a laptop out of her bag, opened it, and pulled up a document. Then she said, I don't think she's good enough for you. I looked up at her in disbelief. Isabelle began speaking in a dead serious tone. I did some research on this Lily woman. Her job is mediocre, her looks are average, and her abilities are completely unremarkable. She doesn't deserve you. In here, I've listed detailed reasons why. Once you read it, you'll understand that you two are not a good match. As for you being bothered by my relationship with Leo, I can make a new promise. I will no longer have any contact with him that goes beyond a professional teacher-student relationship. So what I'm trying to say is you should cut your losses. Call off the wedding with her and get back together with me. Isabelle said it all so matter-of-factly. I slammed her laptop shut. My voice was shaking with uncontrollable emotion. Are you insane? What gives you the right to investigate Lily and pass judgment on her? Isabelle's tone also became urgent. Because I don't understand. I didn't do anything wrong. So why should I lose to her? Victor, why are you so fixated on these little details? I've told you before, I'm absorbed in my research, so I tend to overlook these small things in daily life. Leo is just my student. It just so happens that he's a guy. Victor, how long are you going to hold this grudge? I know you just want to see me grovel like this, but my patience has its limits. Did you think I didn't find out you've only known her for 3 months? If you wanted to find someone to make me jealous, you could have at least picked someone better than me. A woman as plain as Lily is no threat to me. Hearing Isabelle belittle Lily so ruthlessly, I couldn't hold back any longer. I stood up and threw my coffee in her face. Isabelle ducked her head, humiliated. The coffee dripped down onto her expensive blazer, staining a large patch. She looked up at me in disbelief. My voice was distorted with anger. What gives you the right to talk about her like that? Isabelle, you are truly hopeless. You still think this is just some ploy to get your attention? You want to know why it's Lily? Fine. I'll tell you exactly why. 3 months ago, I tried to reach you. I paused, taking a moment to calm myself, trying to get the words out clearly. 3 months ago, my grandma suddenly fell at home. A neighbor found her and took her to the hospital. At the time, I was still a complete mess because of Isabelle. When I got the news, I rushed to the hospital. Because of her age, the fall was serious. That night, the hospital issued 3 critical condition notices. My hand was shaking so much I could barely sign the surgery consent forms. I looked at Isabelle. You know how much my grandma means to me. Isabelle silently lowered her head. Of course she knew. My parents died in an accident when I was young. I grew up with my grandma. She put me through school, college, and grad school so I could get a good job and even find what seemed like a brilliant girlfriend. I glanced at her and continued. That night, in front of the operating room, I was scared to death. I didn't know who to call, who I could possibly turn to. And in that moment, I thought of you. My voice softened. But, Isabelle, I tried every possible way to contact you. I called so many of your friends. But you never called me back. They told me you'd hang up the second you heard my name. Isabelle's expression began to turn ugly. She opened her mouth anxiously, trying to say something. I cut her off. I even begged the one person I never wanted to ask for help. Isabelle realized who I meant, and her face went pale. I ignored her and finished my sentence. But he told me you didn't want to be disturbed by me, so there was nothing he could do. Isabelle, while I was having sleepless nights, on my knees on the cold floor begging God not to take my grandma, what were you doing? I let out a sarcastic laugh, my voice hardening. You were at a museum with your precious student. I still remember the caption on Leo's social media post. He was smiling brightly at the camera, with the beautiful profile of Isabelle in the background. Yay! No more academic grunt work today. Professor Reed is the best. That night, I cried until I had no tears left, and Leo was smiling so happily. So, Isabelle, do you want me to keep going? Isabelle's usually placid face was finally showing signs of panic. Victor, I didn't know. My grandma is tough and she pulled through. And do you know what the first thing she said to me was when she opened her eyes? Isabelle looked up at me, her eyes red and unblinking. She said she was sorry for making me worry. My nose stung, remembering my grandma lying in that hospital bed, her face pale, her life fading, her weak voice calling to me, again and again, Victor, don't be scared. Grandma knew I had a girlfriend. But that day, she looked around and all she saw was her little grandson, alone by her bedside, his eyes red from crying. So she said to me, Victor, Grandma isn't trying to force you to get married, but I just can't rest easy about you. So she wanted to see you, but I couldn't find you. When I was struggling alone at the hospital, where were you? When I couldn't leave my grandma's side for a second and couldn't even get a hot meal, where were you? I questioned her, one blow after another. Stop it, Isabelle said, her face twisted in pain. I ignored her and continued. That's when Lily appeared. She was professional, gentle, and reassuring. She would expertly clean Grandma, handle her bedpan, massage her, and coax her to take her medicine and cheer her up. It's no exaggeration to say that she saved me. So, Isabelle, you owe her an apology. Lily is a professional, responsible, and outstanding caregiver. After hearing all this, Isabelle just crumbled. She knew there was no chance for us anymore. I'm sorry, Victor, she said. I'm so sorry. I grabbed my bag from the chair and turned to leave. I hope you won't bother me again. That wedding invitation was impulsive. This is where it ends for us, Isabelle. As I walked out of the coffee shop, Lily was leaning against her car not far away, waving at me. I had told her I was going to meet Isabelle. Lily is gentle and thoughtful but also reserved and sensitive. I didn't want her to torture herself over Isabelle. Seeing her, I immediately put on a smile. I naturally took her hand, our wedding rings glinting in the sun. Did you clear things up with her? I nodded. Lily immediately hugged me, patting my back comfortingly. That must have been hard for you. I hugged her back. It was hard for you, too. After we got in the car, I saw Isabelle suddenly run out of the shop. Lily muttered under her breath, "Why won't she just give up?" But she still turned to me and asked, "Is there anything else you need to say to her?" Seeing her jealous expression, my lips curled into a smile. "You can just tell me if you don't want me to see her, Lily." "Really?" Lily's eyes sparkled. I leaned in and whispered in her ear, "Of course. For example, right now you should just slam on the gas and go." Lily immediately started the car, successfully leaving Isabelle behind. In the rearview mirror, Isabelle stood there, looking lost, until she was just a speck and then gone. I turned to look out the window. It was finally over. After that day, I thought I would never see Isabelle again. But on my wedding day, she came. She had lost a lot of weight in 2 weeks, her face pale and haggard. One of her friends came to persuade me to get back together with her, telling me that Isabelle was in trouble. Leo had been caught for academic fraud and plagiarism. He'd also bribed the dean to pass his entrance interview to become Isabelle's student. All of Leo's papers were ghostwritten or plagiarized. He'd been caught by an original author when submitting a paper, and that author's advisor was a huge name in the field who wanted to pursue the matter to the fullest extent. As his advisor, Isabelle was held responsible and had been suspended. Leo was expelled, the dean was arrested, and if things went badly, Leo could even face prison time. I never expected her to come, especially with all that going on. I didn't let her distract me. I held the bouquet and walked step by step toward Lily, who had been waiting for so long. Lily had a faint smile on her face and eagerly took my hand. During her vows, her eyes filled with tears. I smiled and wiped them away for her. Lily spoke through her sobs, "Victor, you've always been curious about when I fell for you. The truth is, I met you once 3 years ago when I was still an intern at the hospital. I was being harassed. A patient's family was yelling at me, saying what could a young girl like me do? Was I just trying to be lazy? I even got pushed around during the argument. That day, I felt so defeated. I was crying by myself when you showed up. You told me it was okay, and that there's no such thing as a low-status job. You said my work was important and helped a lot of people. Later, when I saw you again, I thought you were so strong, handling everything at the hospital by yourself for so long. Even though you were my employer, you were always worried I was getting tired and always spoke to me with a smile. Victor, you are the best and most wonderful man I've ever met. I know I'm not good enough yet, but I will try harder and harder to make you happy." Hearing her words, I couldn't help my eyes from turning red. We kissed, both of us in tears, to thunderous applause. No one noticed that Isabelle had quietly slipped away. After changing for the reception, I was heading back to the hall when Isabelle suddenly blocked my path. Her voice was bitter. "Congratulations on your wedding. You look so handsome in a tux." I gave a polite nod and tried to walk around her.
"Victor, I'm sorry."
My steps faltered. "You were right. I knew everything. I wasn't innocent. I used the excuse of being a teacher to enjoy the thrill of another man's attention. So I got what I deserved. This is my karma. Victor, I know nothing I say now will change anything, but I still want to tell you. I've only ever loved you. My heart never strayed." Hearing that, I just felt disgusted. How could Isabelle still say something like that with a straight face? It was terrifying. Her heart never strayed, but her actions constantly did. Isabelle, playing the victim and faking deep feelings doesn't change the fact that you're an asshole. You'll owe me for this for the rest of your life. Don't even think about asking for forgiveness. I delivered my final verdict in a cold, unforgiving tone. Then I turned and walked away without looking back, toward my happy ending. Epilogue. Another Valentine's Day came and went. Isabelle sat alone in her office. The sun was bright outside, but her heart was in a free fall. After the incident with Leo, she was demoted to a lecturer and could no longer advise students. But she knew it was what she deserved. Victor was right. She was an asshole unworthy of forgiveness. Isabelle took out her phone and scrolled through Victor's social media. He had posted a video, making chocolates for Lily. She watched as Victor, his face full of happiness, carefully made one chocolate after another. In the video, he gave a mischievous wink, just like he had smiled at her countless times before. I'm putting wasabi in this one to mess with Lily. In a daze, she remembered the first time Victor had baked a cake for her. He had secretly put chili in it, and her face had turned red from the spice. He had laughed and taken an embarrassing photo of her while she tried to snatch the phone away. Victor had said with a grin, "Nope. This is priceless blackmail material on the one and only Professor Reed." She had laughed and asked him what she could do to earn his mercy. He had brought his face close to hers. Simple. Let me kiss you 20 times, and I'll let you off the hook. His bright, handsome face had captivated her back then. But later, someone even brighter and more handsome came along. Her heart wavered just a little. The rational part of her brain warned her she was crossing a line. But deep down, she felt it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't like she would actually do anything. And so, on that Valentine's Day, she accepted Leo's chocolates. It wasn't that she didn't know what it meant, but she told herself it was just a piece of chocolate, just a slice of cake, just a text back. It was nothing. None of it meant anything. When Victor got upset, it was because he was immature, because he was being unreasonable. She would just give him the cold shoulder for a while, and it would all go back to normal. But she had forgotten that when a third person gets involved in a relationship, cracks begin to form. And when those cracks get bigger and bigger, the relationship shatters. That's why he left so decisively, without a single look back, and put on a tux to marry someone else. A sudden bitterness filled Isabelle's heart, so bitter it made her eyes burn. She suddenly thought of the cookies from that afternoon, the ones she never got to eat. What did they taste like? Isabelle would never know.